Well, the BMT department basically formed from three separate entities that were out on their own. The business department, and where business-oriented courses were being offered. The media department, where classes like the one you're in now were being offered. And the technology department, where Mr. McCardle and I were teaching the computer programming and computer applications and things like that. And it made sense to, in the direction that they were going, to merge them into one department, where we have a more cohesive offering with pathways that you can take to prepare you for specific fields of interest and career opportunities. Computer programming, that's also a fun class. Basically, all of the code that you use on your smartphones, your Androids, your iPads, and computers, and basically somebody had to sit down and say, let's look at what we want to have happen, when do we want it to happen, and what are the tools that we have to make that happen. And that's the genesis behind the programming class. Kids will walk out of there with some professional-looking applications. You're not going to get a job out of that class making $100,000 a year to start. But what it will do is give you the background to say, wow, that was kind of interesting. I wouldn't mind making a career out of that because the career opportunities and the compensation are really lucrative. Or it might give you the opportunity to say, yeah, I never want to do that again. And that's what that class is designed to help you do. That's a programming class. Architectural design, we take a brief overview of residential dwellings and what is it like to design a residential dwelling and look in it and live in it and experience it before it actually even hits paper and before a nail is pounded. There are a lot of codes and things that you have to adhere to and a lot of common sense things that people take for granted. And we use a program called Chief Architect that lets you look at and walk through a house before it even sees a blueprint, so that you can do things like open the kitchen door and find out that it smacks into the refrigerator, or that, hey, wait a minute, I need to redesign this because when you slide the chairs out from the kitchen table, there's no space to walk between the chair and the wall. So it gives you an opportunity to look at those types of things. Well, robotics class is one of the more enjoyable classes that I teach. It's a lot of fun. You take computers, basically small brick computers, and integrate them with lights, motors, and sensors. It's kind of neat to be able to control motors, how far they're going to spin, how fast they're going to spin, in what direction, and base that on feedback that you're getting from light sensors, optical sensors, sound sensors, temperature sensors, things like that. You know, to be able to look at a device that's sensing something in a downward direction and say, hey, wait a minute, I don't see the floor here anymore. Or the floor suddenly is 5 feet away, I should stop and do something else, back up, retreat. So that's in a nutshell, that's what it is. You're basically taking lights, motors, sensors, integrating them with computers, programming with them, and it's a lot of fun for me.
The multimedia program here at EWG started back in the early 90s with Mr. Levier, and he ran the program as an honors program in the 8th grade. After school, students would come in as part of the honors program and participate for an hour twice a week in the TV studio, which was run in another part of the building, not this room here. Then he turned it into a program called TV Tell, and that ran one class in the morning because he was a part-time teacher. He ran in the morning time for an hour daily, and we had maybe 5 or 6 students at the time. I started teaching mass media as an English teacher as part of it as an elective. At that point, I started bringing computers in, and a lot of students sort of came in droves, and we started having a lot of people taking the classes. My first class, I had 3 people in my first mass media class. Now we have 19 sitting in this room right now as part of the multimedia program, so it's grown over the years. The graphic design and the digital photography classes started off in one class back in 2003 when Mr. Mastriani taught the class. And then what he did is back in 2005, he split the class into 2 separate classes. And I took over the program 2 years ago when he moved on to another school in the district. We right now run, again, it's a graphic design and a digital photography class separate. We do a lot of Photoshop. When I say digital photography, it's not the old chemical and vat type of processing of photography. It's Photoshop heavy, and that's my own style, my own take on photography. We use, in graphic design, we use Photoshop and we use Illustrator also. So we use two different programs. Again, it's very tech heavy. And these are both, all these programs, both multimedia, graphic design, and digital photography, are all things that you're starting to see them meld together. These projects are becoming, I have students in here who use Photoshop for certain projects. I've had students in the other programs using video to bring all their photography together. So all those technologies are starting to come together, and you're going to start to see that in the corporate world. You're going to start to see different technologies. If you go off to college, typical college like you're doing in tech, for instance, you have to take, even though you're a video production student, you have to take a class in Photoshop. You have to take a class in Illustrator, because again, when you go off to the workaday world, you will need all of these skills in your personal acumen.
I'm currently teaching sports marketing and entertainment marketing. I teach a basic marketing class, consumer economics, computer applications. Next semester I'll be teaching a public speaking class, management class, and at times I'll teach some personal finance. Sports marketing and entertainment marketing, we try to get kids interested in the sports entertainment career field. So in the class, we do a lot of projects on sports-related marketing, product marketing, as well as sports venue marketing and sport event marketing. I think in the ever-changing world, marketing, technology, media, we've all kind of merged together, because we're finding, specifically with social media today, that a lot of marketing is done through different means of technology. It's no longer just the traditional old television and radio. So I think that when we look at a class like sports marketing, and how it ties into, say, technology and media, we're trying to teach students ways that they can market through these different avenues and venues.
I'm Julie Kennedy. I'm the chairman of the Business Media and Technology Department. And right now I'm teaching a class in accounting, and business management, and consumer economics. What we teach in high school accounting pretty much is the bookkeeping cycle. It's the cycle from steps 1 through 9. Pretty much that's all we can get through in high school. So what it does for students is it gives them a really good flavor, exploratory flavor for accounting. So if they're interested in studying accounting post-secondary, it gives them a real good exploratory look at accounting. In consumer economics, we like to call it a financial literacy class for students. As you know, the country's in dire straits economically, and one of the big reasons is people don't understand finance. So what we like to do is we like to equip students with things like learning how to use banks, checking accounts, tax returns, insurance, how to be good consumers. So again, it's considered a financial literacy class for students. The business department started, well, actually I've been here since 1992, and we've always had a business department. And we used to have, when the school was a lot bigger, 4 or 5 business teachers here, and the student population declined a bit. So what we did a few years back is we combined business, media, and technology. So you have Mr. Crum and myself who teach business classes, Mr. Rounds who teaches media class, and Mr. Searle who teaches technology class. But all of our classes are integrated very nicely.